Hello and welcome to the Chess Mindset. In this video, I'm going to be playing against the Nelson bot on chess.com. Now, a lot of you might have trouble playing against Nelson because of his annoying queen moves. And so in this video, I'm going to be playing against Nelson and seeing if I can beat him. Now, of course, I'm going to go with e4, the most standard move. And Nelson replies with e5. So there's a lot of ways I can play this. I can play knight to f3, I can play d4. I think I'm just going to play standard knight to f3, just attacking this pawn. So he goes with his queen. Now, he is known for bringing his queen out early, so that was pretty expected. Now, he's not really threatening anything. I mean, his queen is blocked by this pawn and my knight is protected. So I'm just going to develop my other knight. Okay, so he goes queen to d6. Again, this is not really threatening anything. I mean, I don't see any threats here. My pawn's protected anyway, so nothing to worry about so far. I'm going to play pawn to d3 just to free up my bishop and allow my bishop to get a better scope. And he goes in with h5. So from this move, I'm thinking maybe he wants to push h4, although if he does that, I can just play h3 and it doesn't look that scary. So I'm just going to play standard chess, develop my bishop and then castle. So he's going a lot on these flank pawns, but I don't think it's that much. It's not really doing anything. So I'm just going to castle and just basically asking Nelson, what is your plan? So he's moving his queen a lot. It went from here to here to here, but doesn't really achieve anything. He's eyeing my king down, but nothing is going to support it. Nothing's supporting his queen, so it's not really that scary. Now I can play knight to h4 to attack his queen, but then maybe he's going to go queen here and then that's going to attack my knight again, so I'm going to have to move my knight. So that doesn't really achieve anything, so I'm just going to develop my bishop. Okay, so pawn here, that's an interesting move. If I take, then he takes. And what do I play? If I take his pawn, he takes with his queen. Again, I can play knight h4, but then he just drops his queen back and then attacks my knight. So I'm not really sure what I can do here. Although I think I can take his pawn here, attacking the queen. And then when he moves his queen, I can just drop it back. I think I'm going to do that. So I take his pawn on d5. And he plays queen here, attacking my knight. Now, my only move is pretty much moving it back here or here. If I move it here, I think that is fine. If I move it here, he's got b5 to attack my knight, which isn't good. So I think I'm going to move my knight to f3 and see what he does. Yes, he plays b5. I'm anticipating some sort of b4 attacking my knight. So I think a good move here is knight here to attack his queen. I think I'm going to do that. And he goes queen c6, and that doesn't really threaten my knight, so it doesn't really do anything. I guess I can play knight here, although my knight's unguarded at that square, so I think it's better to play knight here to c4, or c4, d4, and see what's going on. Now he can take my pawn, but then I can take back, and I think I should be fine. Okay, so he moves his queen out of danger. Now I can't take his pawn because that would leave my knight hanging. So what to do here? I guess I can play f4 to sort of expand my kingside and let my rook have more vision. I do want to make more space for my bishops and get more vision for my bishops. So, or I can just play f3 to keep the pawn chain going. Yeah, I'm gonna play f3 because if he takes, I can take with this pawn. Okay, so he plays knight a6. That knight might jump to b4, but then I can take, and he takes, and the game goes on. I can play knight here to attack his queen, and when his queen moves, I can take his pawn. I think that's a good move. Yeah, I'm gonna play knight here to attack his queen. And actually it was attacked by the bishop as well. So he moves his queen back here. And any threats? Not really. Everything's protected. So I think I can just take this pawn. Okay, so he takes there. Now I can take with the d pawn, which opens up my queen, or I can take with the f pawn, which opens up my rook. So I have two options here. Which one do I pick? Now, opening up my rook does put my king in a bit of danger because it's more on the king side. But if I take with the d pawn, I open up this bishop, which attacks this pawn. So yeah, I think I'm going to take with the d pawn. Okay, so he moves his knight there. Now, my knight is under attack from his rook, so I might have to move it. Let's see if I can spot any tactics here. If I take his knight and he takes, then I can just drop my knight back. And if I take his knight and he takes my knight here, then I take his queen. So he pretty much has to take with his queen. And then I can drop my knight back, attacking his queen. And then he'll move his queen somewhere, and the game goes on. So if I move my knight back right away, he's probably going to take my knight, and then I'll take, and then I'm still attacking his pawn. So I think I'm going to bring my knight back to b3. Okay, so he plays knight there. Now this pawn is hanging. Let's see, can I actually take it? I think I can. I don't think he has any move with his queen or rook to do anything. I guess he can, you know, yeah, oh. Yeah, I did not see that. Yeah, so that forks my bishop and knight, unfortunately. But I think it's still fine here because I think I can play bishop to c5. No, because then his knight takes. Let's see if I have any move here. I guess I can move my knight here to threaten his rook. And then if he goes rook b8, then it's not threatening my knight anymore because it's protected. And then I can move my bishop. So I think I'm going to go knight to b6. Okay, so he takes my bishop, but I can just take his rook now. Okay, so I'm up in material somehow. Now he moves his queen to e5, and this threatens b2. And I think I can just play rook b1 to protect it. Or I can play c3. Let's see. And also I can, no, I can't play that move. I think I'm just going to play c3. I need to get my knight out of this corner. So I think I'm going to play c3. And I'm gonna play knight b6 so that the bishop protects the knight. This move doesn't really do anything, so I'm just gonna play knight b6. I'm also threatening his bishop. Whoa, okay, so he's threatening some dangerous checks here. So after he plays queen h2, I guess I can play king f2, and then if he plays queen g3, I can play king e2, and I think I'm safe there. So I don't think this is actually a threat. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think this actually is that much of a threat because I can just play king f2. So I'm just going to take his bishop. Okay, so he goes for the idea. I'm just going to play king f2, and what's next? Yeah, so he goes bishop back. Now I can play knight d6. Oh no, I can't because it's being protected twice. So at this point, I'm thinking, how can I trade down most of his pieces? Because since I'm up in material, I really want to trade most of the pieces away so that I'll go into a winning endgame. I think I can play knight d4 to try to trade off the knights. And I think I'm going to play that. Okay, so we do get the knight trade. I'm going to take with the bishop to threaten his knight. Okay, so he plays bishop there. Let's see, is this really good or... Okay, so I have two options, of course. I can play king here or king here. Now if I play king here, he might go bishop here again, which checks me again. But if I go king here, his queen is going to take with check. So, but then I can play bishop to f2 to block it, and maybe that works. I think I'm going to try that. So I'm going to play bishop here, and I think I'm safe. Yeah, so he takes with the bishop. Of course I'm going to take with the rook. Okay, he moves his queen back. Now here, I can play knight d6, since my queen is protecting it, so you can't actually take. And I really want to get my other rook out, so maybe I should play queen d6 to threaten mate. So maybe he has to trade his queen. Let's see if we get the queen trade. So we get the queen trade. If he goes there, I can fork him. So he goes to e7 instead. Now, at this point, I can just give him checks. And I'm just going to bring my other rook out. Okay, so he's threatening to take. I'm just going to go here, so I can take his pawn. And I'm going to bring my other rook out to threaten this pawn. Okay, so I can take his pawn with check. No, I can't because his knight's there. So I'm going to take with the pawn. So he takes with the knight. Let's see. This seems like a good idea. Knight rook g5. Check, and then he has to move his king, and I can take his knight. So after he moves his king, pretty sure I can take his knight, and this should be game over. Takes the rook, and now we can just win the game. So I'm going to go after this pawn, and I'm actually just going to check him. Okay, we can just move our knight guess I can move it here. Okay, check. And I think I can just sack my knight actually, because now his king can't cross, so that whenever he plays h2 I can just play rook d1 and stop him from promoting. So I'm just going to keep pushing my other pawns, and this should be fairly straightforward. Okay, so he goes pawn down. I'm just going to go rook to h4, and I'm just going to take his pawn, and it should be GG's. So I'm going to cut his king off right here. He can't take my rook because it's protected. Now I'm basically boxed in his king, and now I can just promote. And I'm going to make a lot of queens here, since we're playing against a queen player. Why not? And let's see if we can deliver a nice checkmate with queens. So I want to make another queen. I'm hoping he goes to here, but I don't think he will. Okay, he goes there, nice. Now I can just push this pawn, cut him off with the rook, and let's see how we can make this a nice checkmate. I'm gonna go like this. I'm just gonna keep forcing him down. Now if I play queen here, I think that's checkmate. So I don't want to stalemate him. How can I do this? I think I'm just gonna... No, any move here is stalemate actually, so I kind of have to just checkmate him. Anyway, so it turns out I can beat Nelson on chess.com. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more chess content, and let me know which bot you want me to face next. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.